All right, thank you for staying with us. You're watching Daybreak on Trust TV. Straight ahead, we start with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning, where you have the lead story. It says, Israel kills 10,022 Palestinians in 4 weeks. It has the writers that says, one child killed every 10 minutes. Gaza becoming graveyard for children. UN Secretary General. 8 countries cut ties with Israel over Gaza genocide. You would find all the details on page 4. Terrorists kill many in Katsina, Borno, on page 6. Supreme Court verdict, revolution postponed, says Obi. That's arising from his press briefing of yesterday. The writer says starts preparing for 2027 presidency on page 12. Condolences as Sheikh Yusuf Ali buried in Kano, page 32. Bayelsa governorship, cracks widening in PDP, APC as heavyweights shun rallies. These are the main stories on Daily Trust front page this morning.
Well, let's take a look at the Teen Trust. The major story says Katsina State wins NILDS quiz competition to represent Northwest at grand finale. The Katsina State wins this, and they represent the Northwest. Now, this is the major story on the Teen Trust. Beside that, you'd see there's a page for the lifestyle, which is in page 7, career, and page 5, well-being, page 14, and short stories on page 10. We also have GSS Cairo wins 2023 head-to-head reality house show. Now, if you have any teenager in your house, this is the paper for you to grab for them. Now, these are some of the stories on the Teen Trust today.
All right. Now, on Daily Times newspaper, the lead story, like Atiku, Obi shreds Supreme Court judgment, presidency mocks him. You have Apex Court tested forgery. Apex Court treated forgery, perjury, ID theft with levity, he claims. Democracy the victim. Judgment made Nigerians lose faith in judiciary. Hints at running again in 2027. You also have tinubu government spending money recklessly while ordinary Nigerians suffer. That's according to coalition. Delta contractors face fresh hurdle in contract payment. Stop painting Tinubu Matawale black. Northern professionals caution governors. As EFCC fails to produce Emefiele, judge gives 8 November deadline. You also have FCTA hands Apoduse squatters 7 days to quit. So these are the stories. You have another story there, suspended reg, Ari evading arrest, on the run, INEC tells court. So these are the main stories on Daily Times this morning.
The federal government tackles U.S. over travel advisory and assures on security investments. This is a major story on the Blueprint newspaper this morning. It urges the media to amplify efforts to secure Nigeria and plans massive value reorientation campaigns. You find this story on page 6. Now, both there you see price of 12.5 kg cooking gas to hit 18,000 naira by December. That's according to the marketers. The IDP bags first class in Edo Varsity and gets automatic employment. It's a great news there. You find this on page 7. Court affirms authenticity of Mbas NYSC certificate. You have up to November 8 to produce a Emefiele, court tells the EFCC. Now, below there, you'd see at the bottom of the front page, it says 80% of rural women can't access financial services, according to PIC. Police to deploy 40,000 personnel for Kogi governorship poll. And soldiers rescue woman about to commit suicide in Lagos Lagoon. We also have 2023 polls, court cases not won on public opinion. APC slams Obi. We are ready to play opposition role, according to the ex-Anambra governor. Now, these are some of the stories on the Blueprint page today.
All right. On Daily Sun newspaper, the lead story says Boko Haram horror in Borno, Katsina. Insurgents behead 13 farmers, kill 9, kidnap others in separate attacks. 1 killed, soldiers missing as gunmen strike in Niger, burn vehicles conveying foodstuff. You also have court declares Mbas discharge certificate not fake, awards 5 million naira against NYSC. Kalu floors PDP, LP, ABGA at appeal court. NNPC working with NATI, other stakeholders to reconcile 2021 report. You also have Peter Obi opens up on Supreme Court judgment. Explosion at Canadian High Commission kills 2, injures 2 others. These are the main stories on Daily Sun.
The Nigerian Tribune from the top of the page carries court finds NYSC 5 million naira and confirms Mbaz NYSC certificates authentic. Oyo workers to get 25,000 naira wage award for 6 months. U.S. travel advisories causing needless panic. Nigeria is safe. That's according to the federal government. The major story there says Guba poll 40,000 police personnel for Kogi. The IGP reads Riots Act to perpetrators of violence and visits Bayelsa. We are 90% prepared. That's according to the INEC. And redeploy Imo Rec PDP urges. You find all the stories on page 16. Appeal Court reserves judgment in Kano Guba election. Ports and Harbors Bill will promote casualties. That's according to the Maritime Workers. Release or produce Emefiele by November 8th. That's court ordering the EFCC. And 2 killed as a fire guts Canadian embassy in Abuja. Below there, you'd see Obi Capet Supreme Court and INEC over 2023 election and presidency as also the APC kick. You'll find this on page 15. These are some of the stories on the Nigerian Tribune today. All
right. Now, on the Punch newspaper this morning, you have the lead story. He says it has a kicker off-season polls with the lead story saying military police vow to tough actions for ballot box snatchers and others. The riders, security chiefs warn hoodlums 67,000 policemen for Kogi, Bayelsa governorship elections. IG orders tight security at collation centers. FG vows transparency. Saraki demands fairness. Also, below the pictorial, soldiers in show of force patrol Kogi, Bayelsa flashpoints. You also have above the masthead, U.S. security advisory needless, discourages investors, says FG. 4.3 trillion naira lost to oil theft in 5 years, according to government. INEC delays trial of 197 electoral offenders. Also have court rejects Akeredolu lawmakers' suits against Aiyedatiwa, and also Lagos slashes BRT fares by 25% after passengers' outcry. You also have 2 die in Canadian embassy fire, Tinubu mourns. These are the main stories on the Punch newspaper. All right. Well, these are the stories on the front pages. Let's get some perspectives. We have Dr. Theophilus Abba, Program Director, Daily Trust Foundation, with us in the studio. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us.
Good morning.
On Daybreak this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Well, quite a number of interesting stories this morning we are seeing on our front pages. Let me start with the one that caught my attention, and this is talking about the suspended INEC rec of Adamawa State, who has been arraigned in court and been granted bail. We now understand that he's evading arrest. He didn't appear in court yesterday when he was supposed to be in court, and we're understanding also that the surety is nowhere to be found. So it appears that this is another tactics to either drag the matter or, to evade, to jump bail, so they say, in legal parlance.
Well, Nigerians I mean, we're waiting to hear what actually will happen to this INEC rec, because what he did was like planning a coup. You know, when election results were collated, he went to, he called, the press and said, look, I announced this person as the winner. Who I didn't have the authority to do so. He wasn't the one who was given that responsibility. It was like planning a coup. And Nigerians have been waiting. What exactly is happening, you know, to this wreck? Who did something that was apparently wrong? INEC came out clearly to say, look, we disown this guy, we disown what he has said, and INEC authorized the appropriate officer to continue to count the election result. So I'm thinking that, you see, government was not allow this to just fizzle out. No, this man must be punished as an example, as a kind of deterrence to others who want to do the same thing. Because we shouldn't get to a point where anybody can just come and announce any election result and get away with it. You know, we shouldn't get to that point in Nigeria. So this person must be tracked. You know, if he's not arrested, you know, unless he escaped from Nigeria, even if he escaped, we have the Interpol that you can work with to bring him back. You know, he mustn't evade justice, because what he did was a disgrace to Nigerians.
I mean, Doctor, it's not only a disgrace, it is a huge crime. I mean, we keep saying that we want to emulate the international world, and we know how they take these matters really seriously. You can't just go and announce election result. It is a huge crime. So don't you think the way that it's looking already, this is the reason why Nigerians are losing faith in the judicial system, the security agencies, and also the government in general, of not holding people accountable?
Well, it's an issue, because I don't want to say the judiciary, has failed the country, but it's looking so. You understand?
But as it is now, is it up to the judiciary? I mean, the judiciary works with other stakeholders in this whole process.
Well,
the police and the rest of them.
The value chain, the police, the INEC.
So
you know, people know where this man is.
Presented in court, so that was the major issue.
Yes, but the security agencies know where this man is. I'm telling you. You know, I remember there's a case, that I was tracking. The person who was declared wanted, who was said to be Awo in the court, he wasn't appearing in court. He was actually sitting as the director of that agency in Nigeria. But we're told that, he didn't come, he disappeared, he did this, he did that. So what I'm saying is that if we are sincere, and if all the agencies of government who should work together are quite sincere, they cannot tell us that this man is not in Nigeria. And they cannot tell us that the person who shorted him is missing. Where is he missing? They know his location. He has put down an address. They have to go and track him.
Indeed.
If they want to arrest him, they can arrest him. So, but if they may be thinking that, maybe with time it will fizzle out. The judge will postpone. What do they call it? He will say, okay, let's fix out that date. Adjourn the hearing 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And then you say, well, the man cannot be found.
And the matter of fizzle out.
And the matter of fizzle out.
Nigerians always say the government, if they want to work, and the security agencies,
if they want to work, they will always, because I tell you, policemen, if they want to do their work, they will track this guy and force him to court. If the court say, go and produce this man, and the police are ready to do the job, they will produce him.
Well, we'll be keeping tab on this. Tomorrow, the court is going to be sitting as well. So we hope that he will be arraigned in court, tomorrow again for the hearing. Now, we also have another story, which is quite embarrassing, really. The court, again, has placed a 5 million naira fine on NYSC, for misrepresenting the certificate of the governor of Enugu State, now Peter Amba, his NYC certificate that was said to be fake and so on. And then after investigations and after hearing and all that, it found out that the certificate was actually genuine, and that it was misrepresentation on the part of NYC, and now it is being fined 5 million naira. What does that do to the integrity of such an institution? I mean, the other time we hear how a young lady dragged, it was jammed, the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, to the social media platform and all that. Now, NYSC, how does that impact on the reputation and integrity of NYSC to see this kind of story?
Well, I was shocked when I read that story, and to say that NYSC was in court, or maybe NYSC lawyers were in court, and the judge told them to their face that, look, you cannot say this certificate is forged, that I did not prove forgery. Now, if you want to prove forgery, what do? If you were to say, oh, maybe this person was not or did not serve, number one, maybe the logo is not that of NYSC, number two, maybe the font used on that certificate that you claim to be a forged one was not the same font as that of the NYSC, number three, maybe the signature of the DG, who signed the one that was presented in court was not the signature of the DG at the time that this man had this NYSC exercise. Those are some of the things that we expect NYSC to have gone there to say, well, this is it, and this is correct, this is not as our own. But if a judge is the one that will decide, that will tell NYSC that you are claiming that this certificate is forged, it's not for it is a certificate, then it is very unfortunate. Because I don't expect the judge to know better than the NYSC. Because if I were a staff of the NYSC, before I will appear in court, I will have all the evidence to prove that this one that was presented by so and so person is not our own. So if the judge is the one that will prove to NYSC, it's either that NYSC was mischievous, or somebody in NYSC was being mischievous, or somebody in NYSC was trying to play to the tune of somebody who was against.
So the judge said that the evidence before the court showed that the governor was mobilized for service in 2001, even though he completed in 2003. So at some point in between, he went for his law school, and then he came back and completed his service in 2003. So, and that the evidence that is before the court showed that the certificate was actually genuine and that is from, NYSC.
Yes, that is the major issue. Now, why should it be the judge that will prove to NYSC that the certificate that Umba is carrying came from NYSC?
But Umba had lawyers in court, isn't it? He had lawyers who would defend his case.
I'm not. You see, this is not. I'm just talking from the forensic perspective. That is my area of study. Now, when you are talking about forensic, you have to prove. What you need to do is to say, okay, what we establish that this man saved. You understand? That is one. Then the other aspect is to prove that the font used, in the lettering, the signature, the logo, you understand, and even the calligraph. Because every year NYSC has this stylistic writing. They use a particular kind of font. Maybe the one they used in 2001 is different from the one they used in 2002.
We saw them prove that case on the Mesoma issue. Okay, that was the
all these things need to put. So what I'm saying that it is a shame to. I'm talking of on the part of NYSC now. It's very shameful for a judge to be the one to prove to you that the certificate that this man is carrying is genuine. When you are saying it's not genuine, it's a shame. You see that the guys who went to court did not know how to prove their case. Or that somebody was being mischievous.
But doctor, I thought NYSC had everything, saved up in a hard drive somewhere where when you go and do something, there is a way to pull it out and then prove a case.
Yes.
So how come now they don't have record of from 2001 how he started, and maybe the exemption they gave him to go back and come back and end it at 2003? It's looking a bit suspicious.
It's a bit because if an institution like NYSC does not have a proper archive, I expect that there should be a proper archive where you can say, okay, we issue this certificate to this person, and then you can go to the archive and say, yeah, this is, a copy of it somehow, even if it's a digital copy. This is a digital copy of what we issued. This is the duplicate of what we issued to this person. I'm even presenting in court. I don't know.
So do you think that there's a compromise now within the NYSC, for instance, because now we are now hearing speculations and people pointing fingers and saying that perhaps some officials of the NYSC are muddled up in politics.
That is what the NYSC should probe. The NYSC should probe that. If in this case some persons went to court to disgrace NYSC, then there has to be an internal probe for NYSC to know exactly what happened. Because it's a shame for NYSC to go to court to present an issue, to defend an issue, and the judge will prove to the NYC that, look, you are not lying. What you say is not your own, it's actually your own. It's quite shameful.
All right. Okay, now another interesting story, this one about Lagos BRT, the public transport in Lagos. So earlier, I think some few days ago, or about a week, we heard that the, what do you call it now? The adjustments that the government had on the amounts people were to pay have been taken off. It has been reversed to, pay the normal price and all that. And when the governor announced, the subsidy sort of on the public transport, it was to the relief of many people, and people were relieved, saying, oh, wow, this is great. And the government said at that time that it was doing this in recognition of the difficulties that Nigerians are dealing with right now with regards to the issue of the removal of the fuel subsidy and so on. Now, the subsidy on fuel is still removed, and now they are reversing this decision, and there was outcry and so on, and then the government went back to say, okay, we are reducing by 25%, so and so on. What do you make of the situation?
Well, I think one of the effects of the subsidy removal is a hike in transportation price. And I'm thinking that if the Lagos state government had decided to reduce the price, then I think it's a positive development. And I think it's something that every state government should emulate. Because one of the reasons why we complain about the subsidy was because the cost of transportation, and sincerely, people have to move.
And it's still increasing because we're seeing the price of fuel still increase.
It's increased. So you see, two things that people must do. You must move, you must eat. So if you must go to work, you must move. And if the cost of that movement is reduced and it affects the cost of food, it is better for Nigerians. So I'm thinking that other state governments should emulate, what the Lagos state.
All right, Doctor, what really happened was on August 2nd, Governor Sanwo-Olu came out and announced that there will be 50% reduced on transport. And just afterwards, I think on Friday, there was a statement from the Lagos state government saying, we reverse it. We are no longer, giving 50% again. Yeah. And then at some point, even some negotiations were saying, even the ones that you said that you actually did, we did not feel the impact of it. So it's like something was going on. So it's like they had to just come out and say, okay, we're not doing it, because they did not even really start it in the first place. And after the outcry of the public, now people, they are going back again to say, okay, we'll reduce 25%, but not 50%. So these people are supposed to be the trend starters for other governors to emulate, but already they are going back on their words, and it's confusing.
And when you think about it, what has changed? Is the economy now better? Which is one of the reasons why they brought the whole idea in the first place, or was it for political gains? To win some political goals?
Well, you see, one of the things that we expected government to have done sincerely after the removal of subsidy was to wet the place with, mass transit vehicles and at rock bottom prices. In other parts of the world where, they care for the people, you may not be able to pay for a taxi. In Europe, for instance, you may not be able to pay for a taxi, but you are sure to move because you get the ticket that you can use either on train, or maybe tram. You can move. Maybe they say, okay, buy this ticket, maybe 100 naira in a week or in a month. Now, anywhere you want to go to, if you have this ticket, you are free, because there must be subsidy on something. If you don't subsidize something, people cannot cope.
People can't.
Not everybody who can actually pay the BRT money. If it's too high, not everybody can pay. So the best thing you can do as a government is to bring the price in such a manner that people can move.
Indeed. All right, Doctor, quickly, because of time, we want to pick your thoughts on what is happening, regarding the election in Kogi State, and the military and police saying that they would make sure they deal with anybody that causes any disturbance in the state during this election. And they're even saying they're going to take tough actions against ballot box snatchers. And at this point in time, in 2023, are we still allowing things like snatching ballot box, go scot-free, because we see that also happen in a few videos during the presidential election.
Well, the elections, the off-season elections, they're quite interesting because the police now has a concentrated area, so they don't need to spread their forces, their men, as widely as they used to. They can now concentrate in a particular place or 3 states to actually do a good job. But let me tell you my sincere view on this issue. Whether the election is transparent or not depends on police and INEC. It's not the people. It depends on the police and on INEC. Sincerely, if the police will compromise, then anything goes. And I'll give you an example. In 2019, in Kogi State, there was violence and police did not lift a finger. There were people were snatching ballot boxes, people were attacking others. The police did not lift a finger.
Exactly. So
they were all looking at them.
Yes, this brings to question what exactly is the role of the police during an election. Because we've heard the argument that they have a rules of engagement and so on.
So you see, it becomes all this show. I don't get impressed because you see, I come from Kogi State, for instance, and I know what happened. Why people will be snatching ballot boxes. You see, figures are being changed. The police will not do anything. In fact, there was even a particular place. You see, a local government chairman went to a polling unit, removed ballot boxes and scattered it. The police, were there. They didn't do anything. Thugs were carrying guns. Police did not do anything. So you see, if the police will not act to stop criminals, then any result can come out. And the people will say, well, it is the police that did it. The second is INEC. When an election is apparently contrary to the Electoral Act, there was violence, there was forgery, there was, all sorts of manipulations had taken place. And INEC will say, well, that's what we got, and then go to announce it. It will create confusion. Because that's the problem we have. It's not about the people going to vote.
To what extent?
It's not even about politicians. It's actually the police and INEC that will determine whether the election will be free and fair.
In Imo State, to what extent do you think the decision of the IG to redeploy the Commissioner of Police in Imo State will impact or boost the confidence of the voters in that state?
Well, one of the suspicion is that commissioners of police, they get compromised. The things will suspect. So when you suspect that a commissioner of police may be compromised, you just change the commissioner. But let me tell you, if the new commissioner does not know the value of democracy, he doesn't know the value of the work he has been asked to do, what he will do is to go and collect money and do the bidding of whosoever entices him. The idea of moving commissioners here and there. The election period is usually considered as, a bumper harvest period for police officers. Let's face the fact.
No, that's really sad.
And that's very unfortunate. So if the police will say, okay, we are here to protect democracy. We are here to ensure that the will of the people prevails. They will do their job, and they know what to do.
Well, at the end of the day, it's like every one of us needs to do our own, patriotic deal in order to make the country grow. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Theophilus Abba, Program Director of the Daily Trust Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Of course. And with that, of course, we wrap up Daybreak on Trust Television. Hope that you enjoyed your stay with us this morning. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Do have a lovely day.
And I'm Ayuba Ilya. Thank you so much for watching the show. Join us again tomorrow for another time on the program. Bye.